everyone, I'm Jim and I'm obsessed with movies, and as it's October, in addition to my normal content, I'm also going to be putting out a few horror themed videos too, and this is one of them, underrated slasher movies. Now the slasher genre is definitely looked down on by some people. To a lot of people there are only a few really great slasher movies, and then a lot of them are just throwaway or bad or just downright god awful. But in this one I'm going to be talking about some slashers which I really think need to be talked about more, and which I think you should watch this October. So let me know what you think of these slashers, if you've seen them, if you haven't. If you haven't, I really recommend you watch them, but let me know what you're watching slasher wise this Halloween. I also have a few other videos I'm going to do this month as well about different types of horror movies. So I'm just going to talk about a few slasher movies which I really like, which I believe are really underrated. The first one is The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which was released in 1976, a full 2 years before Halloween. Halloween seems to stand there pointing at other slashers saying, look, I was here first. You fuckers, you can't take credit, I was here first. No, Town That Dreaded Sundown was made before Halloween. It was 1976. This, considering it was made before Halloween, is a really impressive slasher film because it's really dirty, grimy, dark, gritty, and it's very uncompromising. It's a very kind of bleak film, and it's kind of feels like it's made in the midst of the slasher boom, not before it, so you know, you got to give it credit for that. And the killer in this is very malicious and sadistic and intimidating looking and scary. You feel like you're in this small town, but it has an edge of terrible danger about it. And it's a really tense film, and I really enjoy it. The Town That Dreaded Sundown also had a remake, which I actually also would recommend that you checked out. They changed things up in this, and it's not the dark and gloomy world, it's almost like a warm feeling to the film, which gives it this heat and this pressure and this dread. They take a different approach with it, and it's one of the better horror remakes, so I'd also recommend the remake of The Town That Dreaded Sundown too. Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, aka Carrie kicks Jason's arse, and absolutely, you know, you want to talk about girl power today. You know, Sarah Connor, you know, she was running around with a gun, she was running around buff. The Spice Girls, they did a lot for girl power. And then we're trying to bring that back today with, you know, a female Doctor Who and, you know, female protagonist in the new Terminator. But did any of them kick Jason's arse? No. This girl did. Tina from Friday the 13th Part 7. She kicked Jason's arse, and no other girl has done that in Hollywood. She just lays into him. She just tans Jason's arse in this, and you know, this is the biggest beating we've ever seen Jason take on film, and it's at the hands of a Carrie clone. Now also, I'd rather have seen Sissy Spacek. I mean, imagine that if you actually had Sissy Spacek fucking against Jason Voorhees. Like, that's the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it? But this girl, she's not the best actress, but you know, it's kind of good to see that Carrie vibe, I guess, you know, and it's just fun to see Jason get absolutely destroyed. He goes through more than the bloody wet bandits in this. Very much the Home Alone equivalent of Jason Voorhees. It's just a lot of fun, this film, you know, and it has some really good practical effects. We see Jason's face for one of the most grotesque times in the series. You know, we see constant kind of barrage of practical effects to show Kane Hodder, who played Jason, going through a load of shit. Falling, getting thrown, getting smashed. On Jason's side of things, he does get a few really good kills in himself, so it's still a really good Jason film. So, you know, it's really fast paced, it's really entertaining, it's very 80s, and it's just a fun idea, you know, and I don't feel people talk about Part 7 enough in the Friday the 13th series. You know, everyone talks about Part 6 or Part 4, which are great, but I think Part 7's up there. You know, it's a zany film, it's a crazy film, you know, the psychiatrist character in this is fucking ridiculous. There's lots of ridiculous performances in the film, but it's an over-the-top, wild ride, and I feel like this does what Part 5 was trying to do better. Part 5 was trying to be over-the-top and silly and dumb, and it just came across as over-the-top, silly, dumb in a bad way. This one, you know, it's like a big grand scale crash bang wallop movie, and you know, you just want to watch that. It's a really great Friday the 13th movie. So here's a couple of slasher movies which I really like to recommend. It's The Collector and The Collection, two slasher movies which came out in 2009 and 2012. You know, just really bleak, depressing dark movies, you know, and they introduce a character that for me stands up with the horror icons of the past. The Collector in this is just a creepy bastard. He's a sadistic bastard, you know. You could combine this guy, he's like a combination of Jason and Jigsaw. He's got Jason's, you know, driving force of killing people with weapons, but he's got Jigsaw's sadism and intelligence. So the story of this film is that this guy has to do a heist to support his daughter, and he breaks into a house where a jewel is being held, and it's the same night that this killer is also doing a home invasion. So the killer enters and locks the door, and you find out that there are people stuck in the house. So basically this guy had to do a heist to help his daughter, and he picked a night where a fucking serial killer was doing a home invasion. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky, son. You know, and then he's just the hero of the piece. He's running around the house trying to avoid the Collector, and the Collector's setting up traps, the Collector's stalking, the Collector's killing people and messing with the head of this guy. And it's a really good kind of home invasion meets slasher movie with a really sadistic villain who collects body parts of his victims. That's why he's called the Collector. You know, and it didn't get very good reviews, and I feel like it's probably because there's a load of gore in it. So if you're a gore hound, there's lots of gore in this, there's loads of gore in this, just constant blood and guts. But if you like that from a slasher film, this really delivers, and I think it's one of the best of recent years, and has a really great villain in the Collector. The Collection, the sequel, I think is probably not as good as the first one, but the Collection, it develops on the idea of the first film, and we kind of delve into who the Collector has collected over the time. So it's very much a film about, you know, the ordeal that he puts these people through, and the protagonist finding out all the people he has in captivity. So it's a very sort of interesting film. There's an insane scene in that where the Collector, this is what the Collector's like, right? This is why he stands up with the fuckers from the 80s, right? And the 70s. He puts a fucking, he turns on this kind of spike machine on a dance floor, and he cuts everyone up on the dance floor. I'm not even joking. He destroys the whole dance floor with this kind of, I don't know what you call it, like whirring machine of spikes. It's like, what the fuck? These movies are crazy, you know, and I feel like they're some of those crazy slashers of recent years, and they're better than the later Saw movies. You know, I think they came from the same sort of studio, so, you know, they're better than the Saw movies, and they're more effective. At least the later Saw movies, they're more effective, and kind of takes the torture side of things from the Saw series and combines it with kind of a home invasion slasher sort of vibe. So I really recommend The Collector and The Collection. So next up I'm going to talk about Child's Play 3. I love Child's Play 3 because it's fucking mental. So if you want to see Jimmy Olsen from the New Adventures of Superman encountering an insane hairdresser, getting sent to military school, which is a psychotic military school, and being pursued by Chucky, then you've got a movie. I mean, how can that sound bad? This movie's just insane, you know, and it's really a little bit underrated, you know, because I think there's a lot of good slasher scenes in this, there's a lot of good action moments in this, there's a lot of good humour in this. You know, it just wasn't, it was a come down from Child's Play 1 and 2, because obviously Child's Play 1 is just an incredible horror film, people forget that. But then Child's Play 2 was a good, you know, slasher film, which kind of watered things down a bit, but it's still a good sequel. Child's Play 3 is just a fun, over-the-top, crazy movie, and it's better than the later Chucky movies. You know, the Chucky movies, I like Bride of Chucky, but then they just went absurd. You know, Child's Play 3 at least feels like the Chucky from the original series, but it's a little bit more crazy, it's a little bit more insane. You know, it's just really, really crazy and insane how everyone in this military camp is a fucking arsehole. And Andy, this kid, who has been tortured by Chucky since Child's Play 1 for all his life, Child's Play 1, 2, 3, it's just the ultimate worst life ever. And it's just interesting to see how Chucky just ruined this kid's life because he's fucked. And then he even stalked him in the later series eventually. You know, just one of the worst lives ever depicted on the film is Andy from Child's Play, just always looking over his shoulder for a killer doll. No one likes him ever. No one likes him ever. No one believes him ever. Everyone wants to kill him, as well as Chucky. Just people hate Andy. It's just the worst life ever captured on film. And you know, if you want to see that kid having a breakdown, you know, it's, you know, that's what you see with Child's Play 3. he finally realises that Chucky's not going to leave him alone, and it's kind of a mental breakdown for this kid. But he kind of also shows his good side, and he never gave up on his morals because he protects this kid who Chucky's trying to kill. So there's stuff to this movie, but there is ridiculous stuff, but I find it entertaining. I find it an entertaining, fast-paced movie, and if you just want to switch your brain off and watch a Chucky movie that doesn't go too far the stupid route, Child's Play 3 is underrated. People forget about it. It's probably just as good as Bride of Chucky in my opinion. Scream 3 I'm going to talk about next. No one talks about Scream 3, and it's kind of looked at as the black sheep of the franchise, and it's the one I watched the most growing up. I think it's a fun movie. Now, I think the reason it gets kind of dissed is because it's not like Scream and Scream 2. Scream and Scream 2 are better, and they have that self-aware thing going on, and they're very smartly done, and they're very groundbreaking scripts. Scream 3 is more like Scream does a conventional slasher film. So people were like, you know, this isn't smart, this isn't interesting. But for me, I like slasher films, so I just liked seeing these characters in a conventional slasher film. I mean, there are a few moments that do go along with Scream 1 and 2, some interesting moments, like when the characters are reading the script and people are dying according to the script, and then the script says there's a bomb, and then there is a bomb, you know. There is that self-aware kind of thing, but it is more of a straight-up slasher film. But it does have some hilarious character interactions. You know, I think this is the best Courtney Cox and David Arquette relationship in the Scream series. It's really, really funny, and they have a lot of chemistry. And I really like how Gail Weathers in this, played by Courtney Cox, starts to work with the actress who's playing her in the movie, in the film. And they're kind of good because they hate each other. They're kind of a hoot to watch. So it's just little character interactions in Scream 3, and it's quite a funny movie. I also like what they've done with Sydney's character in this. She starts off sheltered from the world, and she's hiding and she's scared, but then as the film goes on she gets tougher and tougher and realises she has nothing to lose, and she kind of ends the film as, you know, a really tough, strong woman who isn't scared anymore. Obviously we got Scream 4 eventually, so she can never live life again. She's got to always be looking around her shoulder. But Scream 3 kind of has a nice combination and kind of makes you a bit frustrated that they did make Scream 4. So that was some of the slasher movies that I think are underrated. Which slasher movies do you love? Which slasher movies are you going to be watching this Halloween, and which do you believe are underrated? Let me know down below. Let me know what movies you are watching. I have more horror videos planned for October, as well as a little bit more of my own normal content. I normally do in-depth movie reviews of retro movies as well as superhero movies. So I'm going through the DC EU at the moment. So as well as that, I'll be doing horror videos as well. So thanks for watching everyone. I'm Jim and I'm obsessed with movies, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, please turn on notifications so you see each of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.